Hi everyone. Today, we will talk about corporate social responsibility (CSR). Corporate social responsibility. So far, the focus has been on ethical behavior within organizations, why it matters, how individuals make ethical decisions, and how companies can foster ethical cultures. Although ethics often involves considering external stakeholders like customers, this chapter shifts to explicitly explore corporate social responsibility, the organization's relationship with the external world. In today's interconnected and transparent business environment, CSR has become a vital part of business strategy. While internal ethics and external CSR are often managed separately, they increasingly overlap because both rely on shared ethical values and a supportive culture. For example, environmentally sustainable investments reflect values like community respect, reinforcing a broader ethical message to employees. The chapter concludes by noting that many CSR challenges arise from globalization, which will be explored further in Chapter 11. The literature on corporate social performance outlines 3 key reasons for corporations to embrace social responsibility: pragmatic, ethical, and strategic. One pragmatic reason: CSR as risk management. Companies should engage in CSR to maintain their legitimacy, protect their reputation, and avoid stakeholder backlash. Businesses exist with society's permission and must respond to stakeholder concerns, e.g., customers, employees, governments, activists. Failing to do so can lead to strikes, boycotts, regulations, or loss of business, as seen with Arthur Andersen after the Enron scandal. In today's digital world, small groups can cause massive reputational damage. Proactive and constructive stakeholder engagement is increasingly necessary to maintain a company's license to operate. 2. Ethical reason: CSR as a moral obligation. From this viewpoint, companies should act ethically simply because it's the right thing to do. Businesses have a duty to consider the well-being of all stakeholders and aim for decisions that promote the greater societal good. This includes going beyond legal compliance to uphold human rights, environmental sustainability, fairness, and community welfare. Examples include BB&T avoiding exploitative mortgage practices and Honda prioritizing fuel efficiency based on values rather than profit. Ethical CSR may not always be profitable in the short term, but it builds long-term integrity and trust. 3. Strategic reason: CSR as competitive advantage. Harvard's Michael Porter suggests that CSR can align with a firm's core strategy by creating shared value, benefiting both society and the business. This involves examining the value chain to identify where the firm can reduce harm or do good, e.g., FedEx's disaster relief readiness, Home Depot's sustainable sourcing. Strategic CSR helps firms stay ahead of regulatory pressures and reputational risks while strengthening competitive positioning, e.g., Toyota's Prius. However, true strategic CSR requires genuine commitment to values, not just profit. If CSR is perceived as insincere or opportunistic, it may backfire. The 3 perspectives: pragmatic, protect the company; ethical, do what's right; and strategic, align with long-term success, often overlap but rely on a strong foundation of core values. Successful companies understand that values are not soft extras, but essential to competitive advantage and responsible leadership in a globalized, transparent world. This diagram's stakeholder perspective shows the organization at the center of a network of key stakeholders. These stakeholders are groups or individuals who both influence and are influenced by the organization's actions and decisions. I will explain each element. Organization, placed in the center to represent the business or corporate entity that interacts with all surrounding stakeholders. Direct stakeholders with two-way arrows indicating mutual influence. Owners, provide the capital and expect financial returns, transparency, and accountability. The organization relies on their investment. Employees, perform the work that drives the organization and are influenced by its policies, culture, and management decisions. Suppliers, deliver materials or services essential to the organization. In turn, they rely on the organization for ongoing business and payments. Customers, purchase the organization's products or services. Their satisfaction and loyalty are critical to the organization's success. External stakeholders with arrows indicating impact or influence. Government regulates the organization through laws, taxes, and compliance requirements. It can influence business operations significantly. Competitors affect the organization's strategy, innovation, and market position. The organization often monitors them for competitive insights. Financial institutions/analysts influence funding and investment opportunities. They assess the organization's financial performance and risk. Community/interest groups/media represent public interest and can shape the organization's reputation. These groups may advocate for social or environmental concerns and influence how the public perceives the business. Corporate social responsibility is understood as a combination of four interconnected responsibilities that form an integrated pyramid: economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic. These responsibilities must be addressed simultaneously. Economic responsibility is the foundation. It involves producing goods and services that people need while generating profit to ensure the company's sustainability. Profit is essential, but it must be earned within the boundaries of law and ethics, as noted by economist Milton Friedman. Just because an activity is profitable doesn't mean it's socially acceptable. Some businesses, like child pornography, are prohibited regardless of their financial potential because they harm society. Legal responsibility means complying with the laws and regulations that govern business operations. The law sets the minimum standards expected by society, though it does not cover all ethical expectations and varies by region, requiring companies to be vigilant and adaptable. Ethical responsibility goes beyond legal compliance. It means doing what is right and avoiding harm based on ethical decision-making. Some companies act ethically even when not legally obligated. For example, John's Manville labeled products with health warnings in Japan despite not being required to do so, and Levi Strauss committed to global labor standards and diversity based on its core values. Philanthropic responsibility refers to voluntary contributions to society through donations of money, time, or services. It is often seen as discretionary, but in many cultures, especially in the US, those with wealth are expected to give back. Companies like Whole Foods and Target donate a fixed percentage of profits to charity, and many, like Walmart, respond generously in times of crisis. While some businesses promote their giving as part of brand strategy, others prefer to keep it quiet, focusing on genuine impact rather than image. However, if companies engage in philanthropy only to cover up unethical practices, public cynicism can result. Therefore, philanthropy should reflect authentic values and be thoughtfully managed. Corporate social responsibility can be understood through the triple bottom line approach, which considers a company's economic, social, and environmental impacts. While economic responsibility focuses on profitability, social responsibility addresses the company's influence on stakeholders like employees, customers, and communities. The environmental aspect highlights how business activities affect the planet, including resource use and emissions. The concept of sustainability often reflects the integration of these three dimensions, aiming for long-term growth without depleting resources or harming future generations. Many companies, such as Intel, DuPont, and Interface Carpets, have embedded sustainability into their business strategies, achieving reductions in waste and emissions while driving innovation and cost savings. Public expectations and scientific consensus about climate change have pushed firms to adopt eco-friendly practices, often going beyond regulations. Some companies even support stronger environmental laws to create fair competition and reduce uncertainty. However, greenwashing, superficial or misleading environmental claims remains a risk, and stakeholders are increasingly critical of insincere efforts. Sustainability is also becoming a career path, with universities offering specialized programs and students developing business ideas that combine profit with social and environmental impact. CSR today involves balancing profit with purpose and aligning business success with broader societal and ecological responsibility. Okay, now the question we need to ask: is social responsibility good for business? Although socially responsible practices benefit companies financially, there is no perfect answer. Growing research and examples suggest that corporate social responsibility can enhance both reputation and performance over time. Let's discuss this matter in more detail through several key points. 1. Reputation matters. Companies with a strong ethical reputation gain trust, attract customers, employees, and investors, and can charge premium prices. For example, Lockheed Martin lost a contract due to ethical conduct but built long-term trust. Studies show firms with good reputations tend to perform better financially and attract more loyal employees. 2. Socially responsible investing. An increasing number of investors consider ethical criteria alongside financial performance. Socially responsible investment (SRI) has grown significantly, with indexes like FTSE4Good and Dow Jones Sustainability Index tracking ethical companies. These investors see ethical, environmental, and governance issues as intertwined with financial success. 3. Legal misconduct is costly. Illegal or unethical actions result in severe financial, legal, and reputational penalties. Executives may face prison time, and firms suffer market value loss, damaged partnerships, and regulatory backlash. Sarbanes-Oxley and other laws now hold executives personally accountable. 4. Government regulation as a response to irresponsibility. Business scandals have led to increased regulation, especially in deregulated sectors like finance and energy. Laws like Sarbanes-Oxley were created to enforce transparency and accountability. While some criticize the cost of compliance, others recognize its long-term benefits in restoring market trust. 5. Research on CSR and financial performance. Numerous studies show a positive correlation between CSR and financial outcomes. CSR reduces risk, strengthens stakeholder relationships, and boosts efficiency. Firms that do well financially often also do good socially, creating a virtuous cycle. 6. Philanthropy and green initiatives. Moderate levels of philanthropy can improve financial performance and employee loyalty, especially in dynamic markets. Overinvestment, however, may raise concerns. Environmental efforts, e.g., pollution reduction, improve efficiency and reduce capital costs. 7. Ethics beyond profits. Some business leaders act responsibly because it's morally right. Aaron Feuerstein of Malden Mills famously continued paying employees after a fire destroyed his factory, guided by personal values rather than profit. Though the company later faced bankruptcy, Feuerstein prioritized human consequences over financial ones. CSR often pays off in reputation, employee loyalty, reduced risk, and long-term financial performance. But beyond financial return, many leaders argue that the true value of social responsibility lies in doing what's right for people, communities, and the future. Good business, in this view, isn't just profitable, it's principled.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to channel.